Well, welcome to the Teacher Dudes post-game show. My name is Tyler Keefe. You can find me on Twitter at Keefe67. And the Seahawks were able to get it done today, winning 28-21 in Santa Clara in a crazy game, to say the least. It was 7-7 tied at halftime. Mark Pendleton will be joining me here in a little bit. He had to kind of get delayed a bit, and so he is catching up. He does not know the final score of this game yet, so we don't want to spoil anything for him, so we'll make sure not to give him any of that stuff. But this was a very, very fun game to watch, and it was a game that I think the Seahawks really, really needed. Was a must-win game for sure, and it's one of those things where the season could be changing after these four games. Feel free to comment and give me your thoughts on the game as we are going. I would love to hear from you. Love to see what you're thinking from the Seahawks after these four games. Seahawks are 2-2 now. The 49ers are also 2-2. And I'm going to go ahead and look at the standings there in the NFC West in real time. And currently the Seahawks are in third place in the West, with the Cardinals surprisingly 4-0 in first place in the West, as they just not obliterated, but they had a really impressive game against the Rams today, taking them out. Let's go ahead and look at some of the highlights of this game really quick. Early in the game, San Francisco was able to take a 7-0 lead on this touchdown.
Garoppolo off the play action. Looking to the end zone. It is caught. Touchdown, Ross Dwelly.
And then later on, the Seahawks were able to bounce back on this DK Metcalf touchdown. It was very close, but the call did stand.
Five-man pressure. Wilson has Metcalf. Metcalf lunging, and he's in for the touchdown.
At that point, it was 7-7, which was the score leading into halftime. Then in the second half, Russell Wilson had a touchdown run, which made it 14-7.
Wilson scrambling, trying to take off and head to the end zone with a dive, and he's in for a Seahawks lead.
And from there, on the very ensuing kickoff, or not kickoff, I'm getting this confused here. But Russell Wilson had an absolutely insane touchdown right here to Freddie Swain.
Wilson under immediate pressure, somehow gets away, throws end zone, it is caught! Touchdown, Freddie Swain! A little razzle-dazzle from Russell Wilson and the Seahawks.
Now, at that point, the Seahawks were up 21-7, but then with some blown coverage, the 49ers came to make it 21-13. They did miss the two-point conversion on this one, or it was the extra point, one of the two. But here is the absolute worst blown coverage you'll see in a while.
Giving him a little bit of confidence throwing it.
Off the fake, lofts it, wide open, Deebo Samuel! How did he get that open? It's a foot race! And it's a 76-yard house call, my goodness!
There was just absolutely nobody there to help out. And luckily, the Seahawks come back, and Alex Collins had a nice 14-yard run for the touchdown here to get them up 28-13.
Collins still on his feet. A good run from Alex Collins into the end zone with a tumble and a touchdown.
And then to make things interesting, the 49ers at the end, did get another touchdown and a 2-point conversion, which made it 28-21 with this right here.
Was hurt. Bobby Gold was done before the game started.
Yeah, that's when you know you're snake bit.
Here is Samuel. Oh, rushing in. Yards after the catch to keep the 49ers in the game. Big game for Deebo Samuel.
And again, they did get the 2-point conversion. They could not convert on the onside kick, and the Seahawks were able to run the clock out. Really quick, just wanted to note that was Russell Wilson's 100th win, and he joins Peyton Manning as only the second quarterback in NFL history to win 100 games in their first 10 seasons. It's kind of crazy to think about, but an awesome stat for sure. Again, this is the Teacher Dudes post-game show. My name is Tyler. Please feel free to comment in with your thoughts on the Seahawks game, as they are 2-2 going into Thursday night's game against the Rams. Thursday night's game could be very, very interesting, as both teams played tough games today. And, it is definitely that 4-day turnaround on that. So I'm going to go and look at some of the stats here. Again, we are waiting for Mark to join us. But some of the stats from this game down in Santa Clara, and just by looking at a couple of these stats, you might think the Seahawks were going to get blown out, which it was looking like it was going to be that way early on. But the 49ers had 23 first downs compared to the Seahawks 14. Again, we've talked about the time of possession issues with the Seahawks, and, that was definitely indicative of it. But looking at the actual time of possession today, the 49ers had the ball for 31 minutes, and the Seahawks had it for 28 minutes and some change. So definitely looking better on that, which helped the defense out a ton. Let's see here. Total yardage, though, this stat is very, very interesting. The 49ers had 457 total yards compared to 234 for the Seahawks, and that is something that is not good for this defense. Seahawks defense gave up 314 yards passing to a combination of Garoppolo and Trey Lance. Compared that to only 129 yards passing for the Seahawks today. Rushing, the Seahawks only had 105 yards rushing, where the 49ers had 143 yards rushing. So, it's pretty solid there. But one of the biggest stats here, the 49ers did have 2 turnovers, a fumble that was lost, and then the interception thrown. So that was really a big difference of the game for them. Looking around the rest of the NFL before we dive into this game a little bit more. Again, we're still just waiting to see if Mark's going to be able to join us on this one. As again, he was running late, so he is watching the game on replay basically. But looking around the rest of the NFL and the early games, as we talked about earlier today, the Falcons losing to the Washington football team 34-30, despite what we talked about early on as one of the absolute worst roughing the passer calls ever. And if we get a chance, we'll go back and revisit that clip. The Bills took care of business against the Titans, 40-0. Wasn't even a game there. The Bears won 24-14 at home against the Lions. The Cowboys took care of business 36-28 against the Panthers. Both those teams are now 3-1. Honestly, both of those I was not expecting to say would be 3-1 at this point. The Colts go down to Miami, take care of business 27-17. The Browns over the Vikings 14-7. And again, this is a Vikings team that completely destroyed the Seahawks last week and only put up 7 points at home against the Browns. And then the Chiefs took care of business in Philadelphia 42-30. The Cardinals looked really impressive from what I was able to see, 37-20 against the Rams. And then the 2 New York teams get their first wins of the year. The Giants win over the Saints 27-21. And then the Jets over the Titans 27-24. So both those teams gets wins over teams that we we should have been able to beat. And then tonight, as I'm looking at my shoulder, we have the Buccaneers, the return of Tom Brady to Foxborough to take on the Patriots. The Buccaneers and Patriots coming up tonight at 5:20 Pacific, 6:20 Mountain Time. And so that's that's our quick roundup of the final games. In the games that are still currently going, although there is no chance that either one of them is going to do much, the Ravens are up 23-7 on the Broncos with 3 seconds left in the game. And then with 1:11 left in the game, the Packers have the ball and are driving to kind of run out the clock, 27-17 over the Steelers. One note on the baseball front, the Mariners have been officially eliminated. It wasn't because of their loss today, but it was because both the Red Sox and Yankees won. And granted, it did not help that they lost today as well, but it is what it is. Looking to the MLB games on Tuesday, it's game one, or there is no game 163. Sorry, I read that tweet wrong. AL wildcard game is going to be the Yankees at the Red Sox in Fenway on Tuesday. On Wednesday, it's the NL wildcard, the Cardinals at the Dodgers. And then Thursday, we will have the ALDS game ones. The wild card winner will go to Tampa Bay, where the White Sox will also be, and the White Sox will be playing the Astros. And then Friday, the NLDS, it'll be the wild card winner at San Francisco, and then Atlanta will be playing at Milwaukee for the second game. But going back to the Seahawks game today, I do think the Seahawks did what was needed to get things going, and they got it done. And now, again, if you got some thoughts on this game, I would love to hear them. So please feel free to leave a comment and let me know on that. But I do want to go back to this roughing the passer call here from that Washington Atlanta game, and it's just an absolute one of the worst calls I've ever seen. Let me go ahead and show that again.
Ryan, pressure comes. Matt Ryan able to get away, buying time. Ryan falling backwards, floats it up, and it's intercepted. Picked off.
Now, on that one, looking at a different angle, which I don't have, they did get hit. He hit Ryan right about the chest height, and it was not like to the head. It was not to the neck. He hit him at chest height, and the ref still threw the flag, but Matt Ryan was able to still throw him off, and it was an absolute ridiculous call if I've ever seen one before. I can't with these refs sometimes. It's just getting to that point where it's getting out of control. And with us now, we do have our better half of the show joining us, Mark Pendleton. Mark, welcome in. Did you get a chance to finish that game?
I am with about 2 minutes left here, but I can see the score. So
yes. So 2 minutes left. Do you want to see in the future, or do you want to continue watching on your big screen as we talk about to where you're at in the game?
it looks like they're going to score at least one more here.
Okay, so we'll let you watch it up there. But so far up to this point, what really impressed you about the Seahawks there in the second half, coming off that 7-7 halftime score?
I was just surprised the offense started moving the ball. It seems like they pass protected better. They were getting Wilson more time, and he delivered some beautiful passes here.
Yeah, and looking at the Russell Wilson, he had that rushing touchdown where he just kind of basically said, okay, screw this. I'm gonna run it in here. I'm going to go ahead and play that for us.
Wilson scrambling, trying to take off, and head to the end zone with a dive, and he's in for a...
Now, and that kind of reminded me of Russell Wilson of old.
Yeah.
Where he just said, you know what, I'm just going to take it. I'm going to earn this.
He actually looked kind of quick. So, yeah, he looked pretty quick, which was surprising.
He looked really good there. And then, Russell Wilson getting some magic going on with this touchdown to Freddie Swain. Again, this was right after that touchdown rush, which is kind of crazy because there was a fumble on the ensuing kickoff to that touchdown, which we got the ball, and then this happened.
Wilson under immediate pressure, somehow gets away, throws end zone, it is caught! Touchdown, Freddie Swain!
Now, it's one of those magical things with Russell Wilson that you just don't get from any other quarterback.
Yeah, I was actually surprised. I haven't seen some of that lately from him. I mean, he's been good, but I haven't seen one of those splash plays that only Wilson can do in a very long time. So I'm happy to see one of those show up.
Yeah, no, I agree. So what's going on in the pass on the game?
Looks like it's 4th and 10 on the 21. So let's see here.
Now, for those that are listening, remember Mark did get caught up with something, so he is watching on the replay to see as he's getting caught up. He has seen the final score by looking at my screen. I didn't think about changing that, so that is my fault.
No, that's all right.
But it's okay. And then, I'm sure you did see the Mariners score and the results from the Yankees and Red Sox earlier today.
I actually have not. I've not been paying attention to that. I've been trying to stay off my phone. So Red Sox, Yankees won by 1.
Yep, Yankees won by 1 and a walk-off.
Looks like the Mariners never caught up after gaining that big hole.
No,
which means the 20-year drought continues.
It continues, and I did see a stat that it is now the longest playoff drought in major North American pro sporting teams of 20 years.
Oh my gosh.
Which, if you think about it, that's even longer than the Lions.
I'll just say that the last time the Mariners were in the playoffs, I was in college. And
in 2003, yes?
Was that 2003? I thought that was 2001.
2001? No, did we make it in 2000, or was 2003 the last time we won 90 games?
I don't know. Yeah, that might have been the last time we won 90 games, but
yeah, because the last time they were in the playoffs, I was a senior in high school. If that's the case,
yeah,
just
tells us. I think it was a 116 win season.
Oh yes, where we lost to the Yankees in the playoffs, which is bound to happen just because of how things went at that time frame in American history. And if we were gonna lose to any team at that point in our history, I'm okay with that due to what happened with 9/11. Don't like it, but I'm a little okay with it. So where are you at in the game?
San Fran just scored a touchdown here with 1:20 left. So it looks like Lance actually threw something with a little bit less juice on it.
He did not throw the fastball, and here's the clip of that.
Was hurt. Bobby Gold was done before the game started.
Yeah, that's when you know your snake bit.
Here is Samuel. Oh, rush it in. Yards after the catch to keep the 49ers in the game. Big game for Deebo Samuel.
I mean, Samuel there just bull rushed over him to get in there.
He's a good player, Samuel. I don't know. I think Lance, he has some. I mean, he certainly has a rocket of an arm, but he's super raw. I mean, this is the first time I've actually really got to see him, and he was just like, I don't know, real inaccurate with his throws a lot of time, but he's a rookie,
Well, and this is the first time that he's had to admit or take some meaningful snaps in a game. He's came in here and there to do some wildcat kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But with the Garoppolo quote unquote injury, although I'm not so sure he really got hurt, I'm wondering if it was just okay. We're just going to see what he can do. he looked okay, but yeah, it wasn't great. But it's kind of like if you look at what Justin Fields is doing in his first start, he didn't look that good. But then today, granted, it was against Sue Laws's Detroit Lions, but he did come out looking much better.
Yeah. So I just never understood that.
I don't know if anybody has. I don't even know if she has.
Come to terms with why she's a Lions fan. I mean, that's just asking. Like, you don't even live in Detroit or near Detroit, and you're going to be a Lions fan on purpose. I mean, like, I understand that people living near Detroit, you just got to root for your home team, even though they've been awful.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's one of those unexplainable things in life. Like Zane reminded me the other day of some of those old sayings, like, why is there an expiration date on sour cream, or why do we drive on parkways but park on driveways? It's just some things in life cannot be explained.
It's true.
It is. But as we look forward to tonight's game and then to Thursday night, really quick, what are your thoughts on Tom Brady going back to New England for the first time to take on Hoodie in Foxborough?
I think it's just I think he's gonna probably have at least 3 touchdowns, 300 yards. I don't see New England as really any threat to slow him down. So I think the media is going to try to make it bigger than it needs to be, but I don't think Tom Brady is going to be really fazed by the fact that he's facing his old coach. He might want to do well, but he might be motivated to do better, but I don't think you really have to motivate him to do motivate him to do well, because he's a very self-motivated person as it is.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he's going to go in. It's going to be a close game for a little bit, and then I just think he's going to roll. He's just going to get in the zone, and the Patriots are a very young team, and they're going to get caught up in the emotion and stuff more so than the Buccaneers are.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom Brady knows how to exploit weaknesses like anybody else. So, he's just going to do his thing out there. It is a shame, though, that Gronk is not joining him. He's got that rib injury and unable to make that trip, because I think that would have been a lot of fun to see Gronk and getting like 2 or 3 touchdowns.
I'm just really surprised Gronk has this much left in him. Like, I thought when he retired, his body was done. The way that he was talking, and that he was like, no, I'm done. And then suddenly he's had all these touchdowns and played well this year.
Well, it's amazing what a year of partying will do for your body. Apparently it's rejuvenating for Gronk.
It's only fuels him.
Yes, it's fuel. Much like sleep for us, it's partying for Gronk.
Yes.
But let's go forward here. Let's go forward 4 days. Sorry, we're gonna go forward 4 days, and the Seahawks are going to be at home against the Rams on Thursday night. Right now, as I'm looking at some of the quick things, the Rams are 3-1, Seahawks 2-2, but the Seahawks are at home, and the Rams coming off a loss to the Cardinals. So this one to me right now could go either way. What are your quick thoughts?
I think Matthew Stafford, I don't think he's like this amazing quarterback that, at least, at this stage of his career, he is still going to go out down and win you a game. He's a slight, I guess, talent increase compared to Goff, I mean, Goff could put up big numbers one week, but then be horrible the next week. I think Stafford's a little bit more consistent than Goff is. So I think that's probably where you get a little bit up advantage there. But I think it's just going to come down to, can Seattle do what they did with San Francisco in the second half? Keep their pass rush at bay. I mean, I don't know what they did the second half of the San Francisco game that, suddenly they gave Russell Wilson all this protection when, they could do nothing the first half. It was just embarrassing.
Yeah, they got a fire lit under their butt for sure.
And you got, what's Rams D is pretty legit, but it just got taken down by the Cardinals of all teams,
Yeah, and it's 2 straight losses for the Rams. The Cardinals, or not 2 straight. Sorry, I was looking at the Seahawks side on this matchup thing that I had. But it was their first loss. But the week before, they gave up 24 points to Tampa Bay. They gave up 24 points to Indianapolis before that. Mm-hmm. So their defense is pretty suspect this year. But the Seahawks have their own issues.
Their defense, they lost their defensive coordinator, and then they also lost a couple of their defensive players to free agency. I think, was it Josh Johnson? Did he end up going?
I think so.
So, I mean, they lost some players. So I don't think they're going to be as good. But when you have Aaron Donald and you got trying to think of the corner, Ramsey.
Oh yes, Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, they they can be quite dangerous, and I think Aaron Donald really loves feasting on the Seahawks.
Oh yeah, he's shown that year in, year out, and just that whole defensive line for the Rams is just going to eat our offensive line for dinner that night. Looking at this stat here, Matt Stafford has 942 yards and 9 touchdowns this year to Russell Wilson's 895 yards passing and 7 touchdowns. So that right there is a pretty even matchup. The rushing, neither team can rush the ball. The leading rusher for the Rams has 123 yards, and our leading rusher, Chris Carson, has 202 yards. So through 4 games, that's just abysmal on those two. But then this year has been something else for the star receiver from Yakima, Cooper Kupp. He's had
a great year.
He's got 25 catches, but 5 of those are touchdowns.
Yeah.
And, it's like playing Madden with him right now. And so it's going to be a fun one. Currently, it's showing the predictor on the ESPN's Football Power Index at a 52% chance that the Rams are going to win. So, we'll see how much that line moves this week as we go.
Well, like I said, I think Seattle needed to win one of these 2 games against San Francisco and the Rams if they were going to stay in this playoff chance. If they lost this game and the Rams game this Thursday, then I feel like their season's almost lost at that point. But
which is crazy to think after only 4 games.
Yeah, but the way things were heading, and so 2-2, I'll take it. Obviously, they got to play better. I want to see them play a complete game. It seems like we've been playing half games this whole year, and half games have lost us 2 games. And so we got to get that. We got to get a whole game in.
Yes, we got to get it turned around quick, although we'll take a win. But again, thanks to everybody joining in. The Seahawks win today 28-21 down in Santa Clara. I was going to say San Francisco, but they're actually not in San Francisco. They're outside. We will be coming back on Thursday night. Yes, Thursday night, at least I will. Hopefully Mark will be able to join in, just depending on his schedule there. But again, this has been the Teacher Dudes post-game show, and thank you guys all for joining in with us, and we will talk to you guys on Thursday.